smoke, and I'm like, dude, I'm gonna fucking go piss on that.
And I can't have a plastic straw.
Yeah, get close, and it's like, yeah, no, can't get close enough. Like you pull that out, you're burning yourself.
But you've seen what they do in Kuwait to all their tires.
What?
They recycle them in one huge pile in the middle of the desert, and then just light the pile.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Millions of tires.
That's really good for the environment, actually.
Right? And I can't have a
good.
plastic straw.
Well, you see what it does is it thickens the atmosphere, right? Now what the liberals will tell you is, no, that's a bad thing because it traps heat. Well, but no, what it actually is doing is it's creating more friction for the meteorites,
Well, you
which
see,
is the real threat.
We're getting rid of the
All right.
pollutants on the earth. No more pollutants on
I'm sure
the earth.
mathematically that is true. You know, you're creating a denser atmosphere. I don't think if we had a planet killer on the way, I don't think burning tires would be the solution.
Well, if we burn too many tires, it'll get rid of some of our world's mass. So it'll alter the way we move around the moon.
Yeah. It'll spin faster, more wind cools us down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Science. Okay.
Anyway,
All right.
science.
Silence. All right, guys. Where do we remember leaving off? Let's do a little recap.
Birdie and Tate finally got to meet up again after what to them was only a few hours. To us was
A month, 5
in
weeks.
fact, yeah, a good bit of time.
Yep.
Yeah.
From there, we headed to the fourth person on the list.
But we were on our way to the Cochrans, I believe. Stephanie Cochran.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
But we learned that another, I call her a woman because she's 18, I believe, Peggy. Peggy had grabbed the diary from Lillian Johnson.
Yep.
So we learned that Peggy is the neighbor of Stephanie Cochran, R.I.P. And we went there and knocked on the door and spoke with her father, who was baking bread.
Mr. Tom.
Yep. And he let us in, and we were searching Peggy's room, and we found a diary that
Yep.
was filled with, like, it was that we found the diary of Lillian Johnson, and it had the same distinct word repetition and the "thus with a kiss
I die.
I die" at the end.
Yeah, the
But we
same as
also-
the other two.
Yeah, but we also found some folded up pieces of paper, and those were love letters from Philip. Yeah. Yeah, so there was love letters from Philip, and what do we know about Philip?
Not a whole lot. Philip Bolanowski, I believe is his last name. He was friends with Andrew and son of the cobblers in town.
Yeah, the Bolonowski, or they're the cobblers.
Yep. And 3 months ago, he had committed suicide. Not via pen, so far as we know. We might be able to find out more about him from Andrew, who's the Will Scott's son.
But I believe we left off in the room.
Correct. Tate
Peggy.
and Birdie just found some pretty crucial information.
You two are in the room. I believe Tate was like checking under the bed and in the drawers and under the pillow.
Tate would be
and
looking
whatnot.
out the back window at this point.
Okay. Roll a spot hidden check for me.
Again?
Did I have you roll one already?
Yeah, you the path and everything out back.
Oh, okay.
I tracked
Never mind.
that last episode.
Back a little bit. Tate's looking out the window, sees this path across some fields and in the woods. Meanwhile, Birdie is flipping through the poetry, or the folded up pieces of paper, the letters.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we hit play.
Tate, I got some more interesting paperwork over here.
Yeah, and I got another track through the woods.
Trek through the woods, huh?
Yeah, come check this out real quick. And he points, not through the pane, but at this path leading in between trees. That it's not well worn, but clearly somebody's been going through it.
Birdie's going to take a peek at the window and look outside it to where Tate's gesturing. Yeah. Well, I mean, young woman. I'm sure she's been climbing out that window for years. Go sneak out and hang out with her friends.
Definitely appears that way. I still think I might want to check out that path, though.
Oh, yeah, we can take a peek for sure. Hey, take a look at this.
What you got here?
Birdie's going to hand over the folded pieces of paper.
What you find when you unfold these pieces of paper is poetry with a romantic spin to it. Your education is pretty high, right? Tate's is pretty high?
I think it's 85.
Yeah. So Tate has read plenty of poetry before, right? Probably plenty of the classics. And you're reading through it, and it's not that good. Certain parts are formatted incorrectly. Certain words don't, they rhyme if you say them a particular way. Like Eminem talking about how he can rhyme orange 5 different ways, and it's just because he's saying different words wrong. They are to Lillian from Philip Bolnoskry.
Birdie, I heard about this Philip fella. I think we were talking. I told you a little bit about him earlier.
I don't really recall.
He, I don't think it was this string, but he ended up dying by suicide about 3 months ago. Son of the cobblers.
Did he stab himself with a pen?
Not that I heard.
Well, son of the cobblers.
Yeah.
I wonder, 3 months ago is a bit. Maybe we go take a look, have a visit to the Bolnoskries and see if there's any of his effects that we could maybe take a pick at.
Yeah, not a bad idea. Get some more info.
Mm-hmm.
I want to check out this path first since we're here and all.
Yeah,
I don't know. Do we still want to get into the Cochrans?
Yeah, we can go. We should go knock on the door quick.
Yeah.
Hey, Tom.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you. For allowing us in here. We do need to take this journal and these poems.
Okay. Who's who? What for? Whose are they?
Well, this is the journal of Lillian Johnson, and these here are some poems written to Lillian Johnson by, Philip Bolnoskry.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. He just became another aspect of this investigation.
You know anything about this Bolnoskry boy?
A little bit.
Pray tell.
Well, he was a little bit quiet, a bit awkward. He worked for his family. His parents were the cobblers, making shoes. I don't know. That's about as much as I know.
You hang around your daughter a lot?
Peggy? No. Well, not really. No.
Just enough to write her some shit slam poetry, huh?
Well, those poems are addressed to Lillian, not Peggy.
I must have read that wrong. It's been a long day.
Yeah, she probably grabbed him when she grabbed the journal. We definitely want to talk to your daughter when she gets back. We'll be staying at the inn, as we discussed earlier. So we gotta get a move on now. But when Peggy does come home, would you do us a favor and bring her on down to the inn? You can come with, you can participate, but we just got to ask her a few questions.
I'll talk to her about it, yeah.
All right, well, thank you for your time.
Yeah. As you guys are wrapping up that conversation, you can see the light starting to redden through the window on the tree line in the distance as the sun is starting to descend.
You know, it's actually getting a bit late. How about this? We'll be here tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. We'd love to chat with you and your daughter.
I'll make sure she's here.
All right. Thank you. Tate,
You following me?
let's roll. We're not going out the dang window.
You sure?
Get your hand off the window. We can go out the front door like civilized folk. Walk
Tate
around.
will shut the half an inch of a window that he had open. Oh, just trying to get the full experience, Birdie.
Well,
Investigating it all.
Yep. Immersion only takes you so far.
Tom will kind of awkwardly. He's still a little fidgety, and he's starting to kind of like kick his leg a little bit, and he's kind of moving in a way. You guys can read his body language. He kind of wants you guys to leave.
All right, we're gonna head on out.
And we're heading around back down the trail.
Okay.
You know, I was thinking, for you want to split up again? You take the trail. I'll go see if I can catch the cobblers before they close.
Not a terrible idea.
Yeah. I mean,
After that, let's
meet at the end.
meet at the end and keep your ears open. 2 gunshots in a row means danger.
If I hear a single gunshot, I'm coming. All right. Hey, just
Signals.
remember we're in civilized land right now, right? So
Tate will look around real quick and be like, "Sure don't look like no Harrisburg, Birdie."
yeah, but still running around, letting your firearm talk. Let's just say that draws unwanted attention. We're here
That's just
on a
if there's trouble.
fact finding mission.
That's just if there's trouble.
I mean, yeah, just head on a swivel, keep it chill, don't get captured.
It's my plan.
Tate and Birdie, nod their head to one another. Tate walks across the yard in that little field toward the forest as Birdie turns and walks back toward the town center.
Birdie's actually gonna pause and go, shit, I was gonna see if I couldn't get the attention of the Cochrans quick. Because we're right next door.
Yeah, okay.
Say, hey, Tate, you keep going. I'm just gonna see if I can get in touch with the folks next door real quick.
And you give him a thumbs up.
He waves. Good luck, Birdie.
Birdie's gonna walk up the front steps to the front door of the Cochran residence, and he's gonna rap politely yet loudly on the front door.
You knock on the door, loudly but politely. You wait for an appropriate amount of time, and nobody answers the door. Again, you wait. This time, maybe a little bit less waiting.
Is there a window pane on the door?
On the door, no. It's just a solid piece of wood. There are windows. It's a normal house, just like all the other ones. But all of them you've only really seen the front of the house, right? You've only really inspected the front of the house. But the windows on the front are, closed. The blinds are down. You can't see inside.
Birdie's just going to check the handle on the front door.
It is locked.
All right. Birdie is going to make his way to the cobblers.
Okay. Birdie makes his way toward the cobblers.
I apologize. Birdie does have pencil and paper. Birdie is just going to write a note and kind of wedge it in the door jamb. Marshal Hubert Johnson, staying at the Will Scott's Inn. Would like a moment of your time to discuss an ongoing investigation. Please visit at your earliest convenience.
As you're scribbling that note, a passerby kind of stops, and you can hear the person walking. There's people walking here and there. A horse will go by every now and again. And you hear somebody stop and turn behind you.
Birdie will kind of rotate his shoulder and look up.
You turn to look at the guy who stopped. He's a younger man, youngish, maybe mid-20s. He looks pretty dirty, and he's got just a little, like, lunch bag in his hand. They got a visit from the Reaper recently. They ain't in town, man. We ain't gonna find them.
Yeah, I heard about their daughter, right?
Their daughter. Rest in peace, but that's not who I meant.
Birdie's gonna walk away from the door and approach the fine gentleman.
What did you say?
So they got visited by the Reaper, you say?
Yeah, you know that fella, briefcase?
No, I don't think I know who you're talking about.
Oh, well, it ain't their house no more, so to speak.
Is that a fact?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, unfortunately, but hey, I'm in a bit of a hurry though, so leave a note if you want, but if you want their, I don't know. Yeah, just thought so you're not wasting your time is all.
Huh. Well, much obliged.
Yeah, you have a good one, all right?
Yeah, you do the same.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Birdie's going to finish scrawling the note and just stuff it in the door anyway.
Okay.
That was odd. And he's going to make his way over to the cobblers, the Balnoskries.
You, Birdie, walk down through the residential area back toward the kind of city center, downtown, in quotation marks, area. The sun is starting to get a little low in the sky, such that, there's a mixture of pink and blue and white between the low sun, kind of painting its color along the clouds, while the blue above them still kind of shows through. Still, the occasional person or horse travels by you, and you get to the Balnoskries. It's right where it was described, right where it was said to have been. And it looks a lot cleaner, a lot, not newer, but just like better taken care of than the others. There's a sign hanging from the door that just says Balnoskries. Something about it looks really familiar. Really familiar. And it looks freshly painted. Not like yesterday, but a lot more recent than the other signs.
They take pride in their work.
Yeah. You approach and there's the door and then a big window to the left of it. Inside you can see a couple rows of boots, shoes. Most of the items that you see in the window are work boots. Nice, hardy leather. But you do also see some dress shoes, some very nice-looking women's shoes. You walk in?
I walk in.
So he opens the door, walks inside. You see 3 shelves, kind of long, that have a variety of different boots and shoes, different colors, different styles, different sizes. It smells like leather and polish. Very familiar smell.
Very nice.
How do Birdie's boots look?
Birdie's boots are well maintained, very well worn. He's put quite a few miles on them. They're still fine, like, and he definitely, shines them, keeps them protected. But yeah, he's actually in the market for another pair of boots. So he likes the look of this shop, and he just might get another pair commissioned.
You look around for a second, and then you hear the door behind the counter swing open, and you see this pretty big, kind of hairy-looking guy come through. He's about an average height, but a really strong-looking build. Hello. Hi. Welcome in to Walnoskris. Here for boots.
As a matter of fact, I am.
Yes. Okay. Well. Yeah. It looks like these are pretty well worn. Have a seat. Take those off. Let me just. And he goes beneath the counter, comes back up with a device that you would recognize for taking precise measurements of feet. Then he grabs a notepad out of a breast pocket and holds a pencil in between two fingers as he walks up over to you. He's wearing very simple, white shirt, brown pants. You kick your boots off, take your socks off.
Yep.
And he starts taking measurements.
Oh, so if you don't mind while you're getting my measurements here, I was wondering if I could pick your brain a bit.
He's kind of manhandling you a little bit, grabbing your foot and holding it this way and pushing this down and this over and twisting this and taking a note and adjusting it a little bit. Yes, anything.
All right, it is a bit of a sensitive topic, Mr. Bonoskri, but I was wondering if I could ask you a couple questions about your boy, Philip, right?
He stops for a second. He looks up at you, and then he sets down the measuring tool, puts his notebook on top of it. He's kind of like kneeling at like your eye level. He stands up. What about Philip? I'm sorry. Who are you?
Sorry, my name is Hubert Johnson. I'm a U.S. Marshal, but folks call me Birdie. And
Igor.
Igor, very nice to meet you.
Yes.
Again, sorry for bringing up painful past, but my associate and I, we're here on official business. We're looking into the string of recent deaths.
Yes.
That was getting a new pair of boots weren't no ploy, by the way. I am actually interested in a new pair of boots.
Just of course.
Okay.
Yes. I'll finish the measurements if you have. I think you have more questions.
I do. So your boy, he was friends with a couple of them girls that recently passed, I believe, or at least I think he was acquainted with them. We got Stephanie Cochran and Lillian Johnson and what is it, Peggy?
Peggy, he knew pretty well. She was always very nice to him. But Stephanie and Lillian, not so much. They, well, I don't know. I friends know associates. They went to school, but I would not call them even that. Philip was, he had feelings for the Cochrane girl, but she denied him quite inappropriately.
Well, kids can be cruel, that's for sure. So, Well, some poet probably said it better, but, spurned love, or, you got your heart set on someone and they ain't feeling the same, that'll crush a young man.
When you say poet, he kind of makes a slight grimace that you catch.
Not a fan of the written word, or?
No, it's Philip. He wanted to be a writer. He liked to do poetry. It was, yeah.
I understand. In fact, I think I've seen some of the writing he's done.
Oh?
Yeah, didn't look at it too carefully. But yeah.
Where did you find him?
I just came over from Peggy's residence. She weren't there. I was looking to chat with her about the ongoing events. I gotta be straight up with you, right? My partner and I, our sole purpose here is to do everything we can to see that there ain't no more deaths here. At least not of this nature.
Yes.
All right? And to get down to the, brass tacks on why they're happening in the first place. So, yep. Just learned of your boy at Peggy's. And figured I'd see if there's any correlation, because, I know that he's been gone for a few months now, right?
Yes. A few. It was May 15th. They found him on the bridge.
So, I wasn't briefed on your boy. And I know this is sorry to ask, because ain't no one got no right to, but how'd he pass?
He purchased some rope and
say no more. I got you.
The Dimfa bridge. Mm-hmm. Just then you hear the door open. A woman walks in. Dark hair, very dark red outfit with a little bit of like gold trim here and there. She's holding a little bag, and she looks over and sees you two and goes, "Oh, hello." Just then you see Igor's face kind of change, his demeanor very instantly. As soon as he recognizes this woman, switches back to how he was when you walked in. "Oh, Esma, this is Marshal Johnson, Birdie. Call him Birdie. He's here for a pair of boots." Yes. Oh, okay.
Pleasure to meet you, ma'am.
She kind of cranes her head around her husband a little bit to take a look at the boots that you have sat down next to you. Yes, I think you need the new ones. Yes.
I mean, they fit like a lovely pair of socks, but they're starting to get thin to the point where they feel like I'm wearing a pair of socks.
She, her eyebrows are kind of raised, and she's got that yeah, get new boots look.
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
Igor takes the bag and kind of starts walking with her toward the back area door that he walked out through. Yeah, so you got everything okay? Yes. Well, he was missing a couple of things. Looked like he did. Yes. But his memories, I don't know. Well, maybe his age. It doesn't work like that. But, okay. Well, anyway, let me finish with him, and then we'll talk. And then he comes back. She walks out of sight. Sorry about that.
I'm gathering that's the missus.
Yes. My wife, Esma.
Lovely woman.
Oh, yeah. Yes. I'm very lucky. Yeah.
All right. So, Yeah, back to the boots.
Did you want to roll a listen check to the whispering?
Nope. Yeah.
No, you don't have to.
No, I mean, Birdie would absolutely be.
Okay, because I was editing last night, and fucking you were like, oh, I didn't even realize I could dodge, and he was like, oh, wait, we can detect if people are lying, and I'm like, yeah, like just
we have a page full of skills.
Yeah,
use them. Yeah, I'm gonna roll a listen or eavesdrop or whatever it's called.
I think that there should be a listen check.
There 100% is a listen check. All right. That is an 8 under 62.
Ooh, 62?
Yes, sir.
Holy crap. All right, no tinnitus for him. Listening a little bit closer to the conversation, there's a kind of an urgency coming from Igor to kind of get her like out of the room. But you overhear Esma talking about
Smithson's
like memory issues and how kind of peculiar that is. And Igor mentions like, oh, well, he's getting kind of old. And she says, but not that old, and usually doesn't work that quickly. That's the impression you get.
And Birdie notes that in his mind.
In his mind. Okay. He comes back to you. Is there anything else? Questions?
Well, definitely got you done with the boot measurements?
I have a few more. Here, I'll finish. Ask away if you have more.
So the biggest thing is, like, I'm always looking for common factors, right? So did Philip and Stephanie, Lillian, and Peggy, like, was there anyone new that came through town, or, was there anything out of the ordinary prior?
Prior to Philip?
Yes.
Or
shortly thereafter.
He's back down on his knees, kind of taking a few more measurements, and once he's satisfied, he writes down a couple of things and takes the tools, sets it down on the counter. You're still sitting there. He walks over to the last shelf, goes down a little bit, and while he's down there, common between all of the girls, or just something different? I don't know. I guess Philip had some friends that had been acting a little bit, strange, but I always felt they were a little bit strange to begin with, so...
And which friends are those?
He was pretty close to Andrew and Cameron.
Will Scott and Taylor, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I get it that they're, normally a bit strange, but if they seemed any more strange than usual, that's important that I know. You have any idea why?
Well, I would assume because their friend had just passed away.
Okay, so after the fact, got it. Mm-hmm. But nothing noticeable prior? Anybody have like a relative visit or anybody new in town walking around? Like,
not that I know of.
Okay.
I mean, new people come through every so often. Less nowadays than they used to, but it's... if I kept account of every new person, it's not,
Yep. Hey, I gotta ask the questions.
And he walks down through the aisle toward you, out around, and he's got a pair of boots that look similar to the ones you walked in with, but a little bit different. They're a little bit sharper and more square at the toe, and the trim is a little bit different, but they're similar. So these I'll need to make a few adjustments. But what do you think of these?
I think that looks like a mighty fine pair of boots you got there.
Very good. Okay. I can have them ready tomorrow. Say, how about 10 o'clock in the morning?
I plan on being here for most of the day tomorrow, so,
Okay.
I could swing by noonish if you need a few more. There's no hard time, but I'd like to pick them up tomorrow if possible.
Yes.
All right, sounds good. Yep, that'll do it for now. I'll definitely be back tomorrow, and thanks for your help. I appreciate it.
Yes. Just between you and I, she, don't bring it up around the room, please.
Oh, I picked that up.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. And, I will see you tomorrow.
All right. What's the damage on these anyway? What do you think?
$7.50.
All right, well, for a nice handcrafted pair of boots, that you got yourself a deal.
Very good.
All right. Well, thank you kindly. And Birdie's going to leave the shop.
Tate, you and Birdie part ways. You start walking toward the woods. You hear him yell at you, "Hey, I'm going to go check out the Cochrans real quick." Once you're like almost to the tree line, and you give him a thumbs up.
He waves. Good luck, Birdie.
You start walking toward the tree line. It's a pretty peaceful afternoon.
Tate's nonchalantly got his hand on his revolver under his coat.
Okay.
He has a little bit of PTSD from the wolves jumping out of the woods at him.
Not the armored fucking
No,
zombies.
because he could see them. None of them jumped out of
Right.
where he couldn't see him.
You get to this trail. Right away, you can tell it's man-made. Or, at the very least, that people use it. You enter the woods. For a brief moment, you get a flashback to your previous adventure, investigation, mission with Birdie around the mountains of Apollo's Cradle. You kind of shake your head, whatever. This is more civilized. But you keep your hand on the pistol anyway. You keep walking, and eventually you get to a split in the road. Go ahead and roll like a track.
41 over 50. That's a pass.
So you get to a fork in this little trail. As you're walking down it, you see a little trash here and there, canned food, cigarette butts, crumpled up piece of paper, that type of stuff. Looks like just people walk around in these woods and they just like leave their shit, right? People do that today, and people today are a little bit more conscious of the environment than they used to be back then, right? So you can only imagine how a well-tread path that's probably tread by kids would
Packs
look.
of smokes and empty shooters of liquor.
Yeah. Bottle caps. Taking a quick pause at this fork, you can tell that one to the left, to Clay's left, that one looks most recently tread. Probably more often tread. Not by a lot, but there's just some little detail about it that sticks out to him. And so he takes the left. He keeps walking for a while, and eventually he hears running water. Pretty heavy. Not like a small creek or even a well-fed, flooded creek like was in Apollo's Cradle. You walk out into a clearing. There's a right proper river. About 30 yards ahead of you is a bridge.
Tate will go and inspect the bridge. Does it look dangerous?
It looks old.
Is it a rope bridge?
No.
Is it a stick wood bridge?
It's a stone brick type bridge.
Walking path bridge or cart?
Cart.
Okay.
Carriages could get over it.
Pretty well worn then?
Very. You get up to it, and you would need to be a specialist to realize that this bridge was clearly used very heavily for a period and then has no longer been maintained. Looking around, you can also see a number of stumps, tree stumps.
Must have been that logging company. Do I see any semblance of a path across the bridge?
On either side of the bridge is a like a dirt road that clearly is not tread as often as it used to be. There's weeds and like brush starting to kind of creep up to it. And the river is a bit lower, you can tell at this time. There's some space kind of underneath the bridge.
Yeah, Tate will spend a little bit of time walking the riverbanks on both sides. Well, he'll start on one side, make his way down, looking like through the river and the riverbanks on both sides, make his way up underneath the bridge, looking at, of course, everything around him underneath the bridge, any little hidden pocket within something could fit in, and then continue his way through up the river looking for anything.
Okay. I'm going to describe it a certain way. You stop me if that does not align with your vision.
Yes, sir.
Coming out of the trail into this opening, looking around, extrapolating that this must have been a bridge that was built by the logging company and has since been abandoned, you decide to walk down the shoreline of this river, which looks to be a little bit lower than normal. The water level is a little bit lower than normal. You walk along it toward the bridge. You see something on the other side of the bridge, along the shore. So you walk underneath the bridge. And real quick, you pause, like you said, to kind of look around underneath there. You know what? I don't think you would have to roll for this. You look around and it looks like a pretty typical unkept bridge. There's clear signs of wear, both from use and time in nature. You look at the stones, some of them are starting to kind of flake off, and you look up. You see something peculiar. You see a circle drawn with chalk, with some kind of charcoal. Looks like you'd have to climb up a little bit to get a better look at it.
Tate will try to get close to it.
Roll an easy, like athletics or climb or something like that.
What's easy? That's plus.
I'm going to say easy is roll twice, take the better.
Okay.
Because hard is roll twice, take the worse. Or no. Roll, I'm sorry, I got that backwards. Hard is you do half of your skill. How about do an additional 50% to your skill?
50?
Yeah. If hard...
So a 50 becomes a 75.
House rule we just invented. So for the listening audience, a common Call of Cthulhu roll is hard or extremely difficult rolls. What that means is if you have a 50 in athletics and you need to climb the side of a mountain, and it's a hard mountain to climb, your climb skill would go from a 50 to a 25, right?
Cut in half.
Or if it's extreme, it's a quarter. We just invented a house rule that an easy roll is instead of half, it's an extra 50%. So instead of 50% negate, it's add 50%. So your 50 becomes a 75.
Correct. And I rolled a 28 under 75.
You get up closer to it, kind of putting one foot in this hole and one foot on this ledge and grabbing onto this and holding your weight this way. You get up close to it. It's not that big of a circle. It's not the whole bottom or the whole width of the bridge. It's maybe like it's about 3 feet in diameter. Something feels really uneasy, uncomfortable. But you do that. And when you get closer to it, it looks like you can see a little bit of pigment to it. It's not just black. There's a little bit of purple also. And there's a couple symbols that have been drawn around it. They're swirls, almost like little bits of cursive, or that, like the @ symbol, @Gmail type of symbol.
Is Tate in a spot now where he kind of has his hands free?
I'd say he could have one hand free.
He will... Okay, so he'll commit those symbols to memory and what he's seeing here
Uh-huh.
very well, and then he'll take his water skin and start trying to pour some water and rub the entire circle and symbols away. He wants to wash it off.
So you go to do that. The circle itself is really stubborn. It's not coming off. Some of that purple pigment a little bit, but the symbols come off easier. Those look to have been drawn with something a little bit less, something different that's less robust.
Okay. If it doesn't come out, he's going to pull a bullet out. Bite the bullet tip and use some of the gunpowder to severely smudge that circle.
Okay, he does that.
Just to try to fuck it up and make a not drawable space.
Okay.
And he's a little paranoid. And he's going to climb down and continue his way a little bit up the bank. I don't know, 20 yards.
Well, remember I said he saw something on the other side of the bridge. But
He's not crossing the bridge yet. He's passing his one side, and then he's going to cross and go to what he saw. And then he also wants to check underneath the bridge again on the other side.
Okay. That circle was a little bit closer to the middle.
Okay.
I don't think I quite mentioned that.
don't think so.
It's like if you imagine the totality of the bridge and then you're on the left side of it, it's maybe like 1/3 of the way toward the middle, right about where the water line is right now.
Okay.
So as he's kind of up there with his one free hand trying to rub this stuff away, pulls out the bullet, smears it a little bit more, his water skin. The water is like kind of just, maybe like 8 feet, 10 feet below him. Then you pop down, look around. You don't see anything else, but that there's a black spot on the other side of the bridge, also near the shoreline.
Yeah, if he doesn't see anything else, he's going to head towards that.
It looks like a small fire pit. You get closer to it. You kneel down, and the sun is starting to really set. There's a pink to the sky, and the water's rushing to the side, and you can smell just the wilderness. Very different from the Harrisburg smell, right? The city smell. You bend down and you look, and it's this like really small little fire pit. Looks like it's dug a little bit deep, just out of reach of the water. Like if the water level were to rise, it would still be out of reach, right? Around it, you kind of push aside some sand. You find some little bones, very small. And then something kind of shines at you inside the ash. It's cold. You push it aside a little bit. You pull out a coin. Looks to have been kind of defaced a little bit by the flames. But you know a penny when you see one. You push a little bit more aside. You know a quarter when you see one. A quarter. At this time and place was...
Wasting a quarter like this?
Yeah, it's not a small amount of money. Do you have a roll to figure out what kind of bones they are?
Yeah, we can fail another archaeology.
Sure.
36 over 5.
Yeah, you're not sure. They're small, but you're not sure what they are.
Must have been eating a squirrel or something here.
So, when he climbed up to kind of rub away the circle, there was a slight unease that he felt.
Okay. No. If he's going off the feeling of unease, Tate's going to gather up some small sticks and kindling in the area that he's by. I'm assuming they're there because they're stumps. It's been deforested.
Yeah, sure. You find sticks and twigs.
And he's going to light a small fire.
Where?
In a fire pit.
In the fire pit.
Yep.
So because he feels uneasy erasing the circle, he starts a fire pit in the fire pit.
After he erased the circle, he got an uneasy feeling. He's like, I gotta see if this fire's anything.
So you destroy the circle. And you go up to this little fire pit with the bones and the coins, and you start your own fire. You pull out some matches and a cigarette. Pop the cigarette in your mouth. Light a match. Get your cigarette going, and then put that match down into the brush, the kindling. As soon as the fire gets going, and it starts to build, and you hear the crackle, you get this sensation of dread, like you're being watched. You look around, you don't see anything. But it feels like something's there. For some reason, the running water feels, or it sounds like louder.
He's going to toss a quarter and a penny into the fire.
A quarter and a penny? Mm-hmm. You throw the quarter and the penny together into the fire?
Well, one after the other.
Flip. Flip. The first one lands, the penny lands, and the fire kind of distorts a little bit more than it ought to. You throw in the quarter, and the fire starts to dance around as if there was turbulent wind blowing. But you don't really feel that much wind. Kind of just tucked away in the river with the bridge behind you and some trees. Up above, there's plenty of wind due to the deforestation. But standing right where you are, you don't feel enough wind to cause the fire to freak out like that. And then suddenly, it goes out. You feel really alone.
Here's the information I was able to get together. There was quite a bit of money moved around, though where did it come from? Hard to say. Where did it go? Harder to say. I pulled some serious strings here, asked some serious favors, and this is as much as I could get. Within the given time frame, well, there was a pretty substantial movement of money, pretty substantial movement of people. You had a rather large increase in onboardings, and then afterwards you had a pretty large offboarding, we'll say. People fired, people let go, people transferred, people missing in action. It's bizarre. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this before. Well, I guess that's not surprising. August, thank you.